Hey guys, it's Trey. I am right now sitting right in front of McDonald's. I had a craving for a latte, and also got a call from my wife, and she's craving one as well. And so I thought I would, just grab one right quick. But anyway, something I wanted to talk about, and I know so many of you will see this later on YouTube. Probably I'll probably add it to my YouTube account. But I was riding on the road, and I just kind of had this thought about, and I thought, well, I guess I need to pull over and not do it riding down the road. I'm trying to do better with that. And so, I needed to share this, but what we cannot afford to do as leaders, as a leader, and I guess I'm speaking more as a spiritual leader here, because my experience in leadership is being a pastor or a spiritual mentor, but this really could apply to any kind of role of leadership to a certain degree, but I'm speaking more specifically to I guess spiritual leaders. But there's many things that we can't afford to do, but specifically what I want to talk about now is the idea of going into cruise mode. And I'm speaking to that because that's the one that I struggle with often. It's very easy because a lot of times we can treat ministry like it's a clock in, clock out thing. I'm in mentor mode now, I'm in leader mode now, pastor mode now, and then I clock out and I can kind of kick back. Now, there's one thing when it comes to ministry, working on the ministry, organization of ministry, administration part of ministry. Now, that's another thing. We all need to get away from that and just kind of escape, kick back, go for a ride, whatever, go out on a date with our spouse, whatever. That's another thing. But I'm talking about growing in our walk with Jesus, going into cruise mode when it comes to growing spiritually and growing in my walk with Christ. When we're a leader, we can't afford to do that. Now, I'm not saying I would advise you to do that even if you're not a pastor or a church leader, but we're all leaders, at least to a certain degree, when it comes to our circles. We all have leadership in some kind of capacity. We all have our own circles that we run in, whether it's a group of friends, whether it's a sports team that you play for, whether it's, you're involved in some kind of activity, whatever, church youth group, men's meeting, whatever. We all have some sort of influence. All of you. None of us have escaped that. We all have that. And so when we go into cruise mode, what happens is not only does our own relationship with Jesus suffer, but we begin to lead those that follow us down the path that we go. So when we stumble, they can potentially stumble as well. So as leaders, we're not only responsible for our own walk with Christ, but also those that follow us. And so we have to keep that in mind, and that's why going into cruise mode is just not an option if you're a leader. And I had a guy tell me that one time. He said, Trey, as pastors, he and I were on staff together at a church that we were helping to plant. He said, Trey, we have to always keep our foot on the gas. Always stay a step ahead in the game when it comes to time in God's Word, when it comes to time in prayer, when it comes to our walk with Jesus. We always have to stay a step ahead because we're teaching others, we're leading others. That's why James 3:1 says that those who are teachers will be judged even more strictly. We're even held to a higher accountability. Those of us who are leaders, we're held to be above reproach. It's a higher accountability. And so we have to keep that in mind. And I'm just going to be straightforward about this. Whenever you're not moving forward in your walk with Christ, you're going to begin to drift. Always. You're going to begin to drift. What happens when we drift? We always drift away from Christ, not toward Him. Whenever we drift, whenever we stop and say, I'm just going to kick back, I'm just going to go into cruise mode, that's when we will always begin to drift away. And so we have to keep that in mind. No matter where you are, no matter who you are in your relationship with Jesus. But when you're a leader, we can't afford to do that because people that follow us, people that look to us as an example, we're going to lead them down the same way. And I have to remind myself of that every single day to keep my foot on the gas, to continue to grow, because the last thing I want to do is cause those who look to me to stumble. The last thing I want to do is for apathy to creep into my life, or negativity to creep into my life, or anything that will point people away from Jesus and not to Jesus. And that's what I want my life to be about. I want everyone I interact with, everyone that I lead, every person who follows me, I want to continue to follow Christ as they follow me. And it starts, maybe for you it's a friend, that you hang out with at lunch. Maybe it's a person on your sports team. Maybe it's a parent that's lost and doesn't know Christ. Maybe it's a brother or sister that looks up to you. Whatever your circle is, because you may say, well, Trey, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a spirit, this doesn't apply to me. It applies to all of us. We all have people that we influence and that look to us as leaders. And we have to keep in mind that it's not just about us. We have to think of others as well. So if you're a leader, keep the foot on the gas. Do not go into cruise mode. We can't afford it. What cruise mode today may seem like nothing, but it could lead you into ruin. And we have to always keep that in mind. And if we go into ruin, we're going to lead others who follow us and go with us. So love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And I'm going to go get some coffee and going to head to the house. You guys have a good day. Love you guys.